Bryce knows where we stand with him, and he feels the same way about us. He's headed in the right direction. We feel great about him, and we'll get it done at the right time.
Bryce Young just had the best season of his career, and his offense got worse, not by a little. Fewer points per game than the year before. The Carolina Panthers fielded a worse offense in the exact season their quarterback set career highs in completion percentage, touchdowns, and passing yards. Both of those things are true at the same time, about the same team. Because that's the whole problem with Bryce Young right now. This isn't a guy coming off a disaster who needs to prove he belongs. It's the opposite, and it's a weirder situation to be in. He's coming off career highs, a division title, a playoff appearance, and his first ever spot on the NFL Top 100, and almost nobody agrees on what any of it actually means. One camp looks at the trajectory and sees a quarterback who's finally arriving. The other camp looks at the efficiency numbers and sees a guy who is still, by a wide margin, one of the least productive starters in the entire league. And here's the uncomfortable part. Both camps are using real data, and they can't both be right. Normally this is where I'd tell you we'll have to wait and see. But this time, there's a clock on it. Carolina already locked Young in for 2027. The extension talks are happening right now behind closed doors with nothing signed, which means 2026 isn't just another season. It's the season where the Panthers decide whether Bryce Young is their guy for the next 5 years, or whether they start quietly planning for life without him. So let's actually break it down. What 2025 really was, what the believers see, what the skeptics see, and why this one season is going to settle an argument the entire league has been having for 3 years. Let's start with what's not in dispute, because the raw numbers genuinely look great. Bryce Young set career highs almost across the board in 2025. 3,011 yards, 23 touchdowns, completion percentage up to 63.6, all career bests, and the team won when it mattered. An 8-9 record that doesn't sound like much until you realize it was good enough to win the NFC South for the first time in a decade, and drag Carolina back to the playoffs for the first time since 2017. They even took the Rams down to the wire in the wildcard round before losing by a field goal. On paper, that's a quarterback on the rise. Year 3, clear jump, division title, a rookie receiver next to him who just won Offensive Rookie of the Year. Tidy little redemption arc, but here's the catch. The offense, as a unit, did not get better. It got worse. In 2024, the Panthers averaged 20.1 points and 298 yards a game. In 2025, Young's best year, those dropped to 18.3 points and 295.6 yards. Passing yards per game dropped too. The only things that actually went up were fourth down conversions and rushing yards, and the rushing bump was small considering how much deeper that backfield got. So how does the quarterback get better while the offense gets worse? The honest answer is that Carolina's whole turnaround had almost nothing to do with the offense, and almost everything to do with the defense. That unit went from historically bad to respectable, and that's what flipped them from doormat to division winner. Young's offense, it treaded water, maybe slipped a little. In the same year, his personal numbers hit new highs. That's not a contradiction you can shrug off. It means his stat line and his offense are telling you two completely different stories about the same 16 games. Now the bull case is real. The people making it aren't dreaming. Let's start with the obvious thing. He has never had a roster like this. McMillan won Offensive Rookie of the Year, a genuine #1 receiver who wins on the outside and stretches the field, which is something Carolina simply has not had in years. Jalen Coker is turning into a real complementary weapon behind him. Chuba Hubbard gives Young an actual run game to lean on, and the offensive line is the best it's been since he got drafted. For the first time in his career, Bryce Young does not have to be the best player on his own offense just to keep the team in games. Remember where this started. A 2-15 rookie year, benched in year 2. A kid dropped into a broken situation. Coaching change, no weapons, chaos around him. And every single year since, he's gotten better. Better play, faster processing, more command in the huddle. The people inside that building see it every day, and the GM isn't being shy about it. Dan Morgan flat out said, quote, "The arrow is up with Bryce. That's not a guy hedging on his quarterback." And the recognition is starting to follow. Cracking the NFL Top 100 for the first time, even at 98, even as a debut, is the rest of the league saying out loud that this guy belongs in the conversation now. That doesn't happen for a pure system quarterback. Some analysts are going even further than that. Bleacher Report named Young the #1 breakout candidate in football for 2026, betting that another year in the system, plus a loaded receiver room, finally drags his efficiency up to match the counting stats. So the bull case isn't Young is already good. It's sharper than that. It's he has never had this much help, and everything about his arc says the help is about to pay off. Now flip it over, because the bear case isn't built on vibes either. It's built on some genuinely brutal numbers. Let's start with the record. Bryce Young is 14-30 as a starter. That's not a small sample or a fluke stretch. That's 3 seasons of evidence. And when a 14-30 record is sitting right next to best year of his career, one of two things is true. Either he's got a long way still to go, or that record is telling you something about the quarterback that the highlight reel is hiding. Then there's the efficiency, and this is where the analytics crowd slams the brakes. Young's career yards per attempt is 6 flat. His career touchdown rate is 3.5%. Out of the 22 quarterbacks who've thrown at least 1,000 passes over the last 3 years, both of those numbers rank dead last. Not bottom 5, not near the back. Dead last. That's the statistical neighborhood he lives in, even after a career year. And here's what that actually means, because it's the crux of the whole thing. Those career high totals, they came from volume, not from getting more efficient. He threw it more, completed a few more, and the counting stats piled up behind that. But how far he moves the ball on a given throw, and how often he turns drives into touchdowns, those rates are still scraping the bottom of the league. The stat line grew, the efficiency didn't. And we've seen this before. The NFL is full of former #1 picks who flashed real progress in year 3, got the benefit of the doubt, and then plateaued right where their underlying numbers always said they would. A volume season from a low efficiency passer, propped up by better talent around him. It's a pattern, and it does not always end with the quarterback. Sometimes the supporting cast was carrying the thing the whole time, and the league eventually figures it out. So you've got 2 honest reads pulling in opposite directions. The box score says rising star, the efficiency says one of the least productive starters in football. Both are true, neither one cancels the other out. Here's why this isn't just another prove it year, there's a number attached to it. Carolina already picked up Young's 5th-year option, so he's locked in through 2027 at a fully guaranteed $25.9 million. That part's done. And it's everything after that that's up in the air. Dan Morgan has said publicly that a long-term extension is, quote, something that we're talking about here internally, and that they'll get it done at the right time. Translation, no offer on the table, no commitment past the years they already control. They like where it's heading. They have not bet on the destination. That's exactly what makes 2026 the deciding year. If Young takes the step the optimists are projecting, if the efficiency finally catches up to the volume, Carolina's decision gets easy. You extend your franchise quarterback now before he gets expensive while he's still a bargain. But if he flatlines or just runs back 2025 without any real jump in how he plays, now the Panthers are staring down a miserable 2027 offseason. Do you hand starting quarterback money to a guy with a losing record and last in the league efficiency? Or do you admit the leap was never coming and start over? And that's the part nobody in Carolina wants to say into a microphone, but it's right there in the numbers. If 2026 goes sideways, this team could be right back where it started, missing the playoffs, holding a high pick, opening up the quarterback job again, except now with 3.5 years of evidence on the books, instead of a clean slate and a first-round dream. There is no neutral result here. This season either builds the case to pay him, or it builds the case to move on. The Panthers have basically said it themselves. They're done evaluating on potential. They're evaluating on what shows up on the tape in 2026. So where does that leave us going into the year? Honestly, it leaves us with a real argument, which is more than you can say about most quarterbacks, because both sides are holding live ammunition. The believers are right that Young has never had this much around him, that the arrow really has pointed up every single year, and that the people who watch him daily are convinced the moment is coming. And the skeptics are right that a 14-30 record is a 14-30 record, that dead last efficiency over 3 years is not a rounding error, and that the offense somehow got worse in the one season everybody wants to call his breakout. Both of those are true. That's not me dodging. That is genuinely where the evidence sits the night before the season starts. But here's the thing that makes this one worth watching. We are finally going to get an answer. Carolina put a number and a clock on it, and they are not the type to keep waiting around. So by the time the 2027 offseason rolls in, the argument's over. Either Bryce Young's career year was the first real chapter of something, or it was the best version of a quarterback who's already shown you his ceiling and just made you wait 3 years to be sure. I've got my lean, but I want yours. Bull or bear on Bryce Young? Drop it in the comments, and let's see where this room actually stands.